Well, what, just in general, if you could address, you know, what are your impressions now of what you're hearing about Scott and, you know,
It's terrible. I mean, come on. Are you kidding me? It's terrible. I mean, you know, people who lost money because they trusted him. I trusted him.
yeah.
I didn't lose money. You know, I don't have much money. But, you know, I think it's awful. As I understand it, I think George is one of the biggest victims here. You know, I'm glad it's being pursued.
Going back to the first question that Peter asked about what Scott Rothstein was interested in, you mentioned good government. Can you be more specific? What, anything particular? I mean, even
He never asked me for anything. I'll be very specific. He never asked me to do anything.
No, but what issues did he care about? I mean, just in this conversation we've had, Gary asked about State Farm. Scott asked about ethics. Doug, Tri-Rail, Sunrail, I raised high-speed rail and so forth. I mean, everybody usually comes to the table with something that, whether they want something or not, that's a different matter, but at least something that they're interested in, some issue.
No, that's not necessarily true, Tony. Yeah, really. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people who are involved in politics who really want just good government. Let me give you an example of my philosophy about the fundraising aspect of what I have to do. I remember when I was running for the state senate, it was either 92 or 94 from Tampa Bay. And I had a friend who asked me one time and said, you know, that he wanted to contribute to my campaign, but he wanted to know what he got for it. I'd never been asked that before. And I said, well, you get good government and a thank you note. And if you expect anything else, keep it. And I've always felt that way. Always. I mean, I'm an honest guy. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, if people want to give to my campaign and help me, I'm grateful. And if they ask for something in return for it, they don't get it. And nobody does ask for anything in return. They don't. Not to me.
If you didn't talk issues, what did you all talk about? Or how often did you talk to him?
Talked about social things, about charities he was involved in. Really?
But do you feel like you were had now that he was trading on, you know, he displayed photos of...
Oh, I think that's clearly what the intent was.
You know.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
Sure.
He wanted to burnish his image by being close to you.
Well, apparently it worked for a while, to a degree. I don't know how much me or how much Dan Marino or how much Alex Stink or anybody else that he touched. There was a lot of people that he touched and ingratiated himself to. And he never asked me for it. I think he may have utilized it in order to appear significant in the community.
Yeah.
Is that association with him going to hurt your campaign, do you think?
Not to fair-minded people, no.
I can see it being used as a club against you, though.
Well, anything can be used as a club against in a political campaign, and most things are.
I mean, an attack at it. I mean, those photographs.
That's fine. It's fair game. If people want to do it, they can try. You know, I'll fight back and tell the truth.
I mean, do you
That's
think you're a pretty
politics.
good judge of character, and you, in this case, you missed any red flags?
I don't think there are any red flags necessarily, but I'm no better a judge of character than Dan Marino or Alex Sink or any of these other people, right? Is that fair? I mean, that's fair. Not perfect.
How much did you end up having to give back now?
Well, I gave back the contribution he and his wife gave. It was $9,600. A lot of money.
The question was asked here, did he ask you for anything? Did you ever ask him for anything? For example, Sheriff Lamberti received a lot of support out of from Scott during his election campaign. Did you ask, after you appointed Sheriff Lamberti, did you ask Scott to help him in his election? Or
Not that I recall. I may have. I mean, that wouldn't be out of the ordinary, but I don't know that I did.
Has the FBI talked to you about any questions about Scott Rothstein and your relationship or campaign finance, any of that?
No.
Well, wait a minute, before we got you tied with one person, let me ask you your ties with someone else.
Sure.
Been in the news, Jim Greer. You know, it seems like there's a move to get rid of him as the Republican Party chair, and you guys, you know, have been political allies for a while.
Yes, sir.
What's your take on all that? I mean, has he done a bad job? Has he mismanaged money? Has been reported in the press? I mean, where do you stand with Jim Greer?
I don't see any evidence to that. I don't. And what do I think's motivating it? others who would like to be chairman. I mean, this is a competitive world. And I think that's what motivates it. I really do. I think it's that simple. And I think he's done a good job. He's done more minority outreach for the Republican Party of Florida than I've ever seen. I mean, works hard at it every day. No, I think he's done a very good job.
I want to ask you about the Public Service Commission. You've made 2 more appointees. We've had in the last decade, almost a revolving door up there, one person after another, and we end up at the same place, some kind of an ethics issue or some issue that questions the impartiality of the commission. At what point should we not focus so much on the faces, but more just on the mechanics?